Memorial Day is a day that is set on every Monday of every year to remember and reflect on what we hold dearly to our hearts, and that is freedom. Freedom isn't free. Freedom is protected by the men and women of our armed forces, but also by our traditional Ogeechida for our treaty rights, so that we continue to be Anishinaabe. And so at this time, I'd like you to rise, and we'll move over to the Courte Soldiers Drum for a welcome song. Thank you, Soldiers Drum. The Soldiers Drum. This drum goes back a long ways. It goes back to World War I. World War I. There was a young lady in the Wolf family, the Wolf clan, that dreamt of this drum while our soldiers were overseas. Said that this drum had to be built for their return. And to this day, we use that drum on special occasions such as this. and his drum is maintained and kept by Utina Malinori, whose father was Pete Wolf, mother is Elaine Miller. This time I would like to call Mr. Paul Demain forward for our invocation and his blessing for this day.
Miigwech, Rusty. Today when I say these few words, I want to think about warriors the way I was taught, in that they were warriors who ultimately are fighting for peacefulness within our community. So with that, in the Wayne Maganaduk, Nungum Gizigat, a Kinana Shnapin de Gade Oma, McQuaindamawin, a Kinna, Chamagana Shako Gitchida, Mewaja, Chimigazawat, a Kinnagay Gu, a McQuaindamawin, a Anishinabi Akin. Amino Adash, Mama, Akin, Nungum Gizigat, Amino Adash, Niganizit Manidu, Dapnamawa, Sema Nungum Gizigat, Ganawabandamawa, Kinanishna Bake Nungum Gizigat, Mino Adash, Akinagegu, Kikizi Tud, Nopaming Akina, Anishna Bake. Weesiak, Venetiak, Giguyak, Mino Dasha Kinigegua no chow, Mino Bamadazi Winnungum Gizigat, McQuain Mowin, Mewaja, me Gwetchwe young, a Kinna Chimagana Shako get Jida, me Gwetch, me old Manikin, in the Wayne Maganaduk.
Me Gwetch, Skabevis. This time, if you please stand one more time and we'll do a flag song. This is appropriate. That was a moving song. Did you see this thing move here? Thank you, Soldiers Drum. Before I introduce Chairman Thayer, I would like to recognize our elders that are here with us today. I especially want to thank our World War II veterans. As I call your name, please rise or raise your hand. Mr. Darrell Kuhn, Mr. Sam Jockey, Bertha Smith-Christiansen, Mr. John Courte, Mr. Richard Smith, Mr. Louis Gougé, and sitting on behalf of Vernon Isham, Dewey, relative. Thank them. Thank you for being here today. We know just a couple short months ago there was nothing here. There was nothing here. Tribal Council got together. We received a grant from the Madawakanton Sioux community, and we assembled a Veterans Committee. At this time, if some of our committee members that are here, could you please raise your hand? Thank you for the hard work in making this possible here today. We would like to thank the Courte Development Corporation that is doing the construction of the school and also the Veterans Memorial. We'd also like to thank the representative, Mr. Scott Bolstadt from Senator Ron Johnson. Where are you at, sir? There he is, sitting in the back row. All right. Architects, Mr. Tim Meyer and Associates. Mr. Nate Nez from the Wisconsin Department of Veterans, Tribal Liaison. He's in the back row there. Miss Sarah Bulbin, who did our eagle here. Thank you. The Soldiers Drum. All the singers assemble. I also like to recognize our Waduk Kadading Ojibwe Immersion School. The singers are here. We need to get them set up. Right over here with the Soldiers Drum. The Courte AMVETS Post 1998. And our bugler today, Mr. David Palmer. So give everybody a hand here that is representing. And the many veterans. I'd also like to recognize our tribal leaders from the past. We got Chairman Thayer. We have one of our past chairman, Gougé. Where's Gougé at? He's in the back row right there. We also have council persons Mick Isham and Larry Kagigebi here with us today also. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Chairman Thayer to the mic for our welcome address here today. Chairman.
Thank you, Rusty, for the fine job you always do and recognizing all of our family and our contributors. And it's a special day here at Courte. We have we remember today all of the loved ones that served and died for our country, and also for our traditional folks that fought for our treaty rights here to preserve our rights on our beautiful nation of Courte. And many of them have gone on, but there's others that are still with us today. This is a special day. We recognize the hard work that went into putting this together for our team, our planning team. You all deserve a really good hand. And I want to say that this is the actually the second phase dedication. As Rusty said, the Shakopee tribe helped us. Our tribe also put a matching grant in. Towards the end of this ceremony today, we're going to unveil our thermometer where we're really at with the fundraising. Our final dedication will take place on Veterans Day in November. Some of you were out here last November. It was kind of a blustery day, but many of you came out. We also have Rusty was able to procure a howitzer cannon that'll be over here, placed right over here. The grounds you're looking at here is very historical for our tribe. The Kinnamon School, there's probably folks here today that attended Kinnamon School. Is there people here that attended the school? Can I see your hand? Your hands? I see Lonnie, you raised your hand. You used to skip school there, didn't you? But the Kinnamon School in the back here that's preserved, that's going to be like a interpretive center, like a historical center as you enter into our tribal government area. This will be a nice area. We're going to have a pavilion here. People can come here and just pay tribute to their loved ones and just have a good time in here, in this area here. Looking forward, we are going to honor Stanley Crooks, the former, he passed away here several months ago in Shakopee. He's a very generous man, along with his other council members, that gave to many tribes for their needs. And in November, we're going to recognize Chairman Crooks at that event. But we want to welcome here today. I also want to welcome, families very essential in our Native communities. I want to recognize my mother Bernice back there. She's one that always taught me. She kept me encouraged during my days when I was in the war. I used to look forward to her letters all the time. My sister Jane also invited some brothers that went into the service the same time I did. Jack Plunger and Ken Plunger. I will tell you a quick story with that. We were all, and Dan Gagalovich, we were all we hung around together back in those days after I left Courte. And we went down to Milwaukee, and our 15, 16 years old, we had our eyes set in the wrong path. And myself, we had an opportunity to either go into the boys' reformatory or go into the military. So you can tell which one I picked. But it wasn't a hard choice to make that. And Jack and Dan went in together in the Army. Jack is a former Green Beret. So it did make us, I guess, take the right path. But I think of our Native people across the country who have always stood behind this flag. We have a high regard for the flag in this country, and we'll continue to do that. We acknowledge our fighting men and women who are now serving in harm's way around the globe. And we recognize those veterans that are still active and active duty, those that fought in the wars. I'm proud and honored to stand before our veterans of World War II here today, and it's an honor to be here in front of you, gentlemen and ladies. As we move forward, we want to just remember that this grounds here are sacred grounds and how we respect it, and we want everybody to honor that in every way you can. One way of doing that, if you want to make a contribution to the memorial here, that would be grateful. Our tribe is, we'll mention what we've raised together in just a little bit. Also want to acknowledge my wife Sheila, who's here with me today, and she does a lot of work with me, and over my many years she's helped me. But moving on, I just want to welcome everybody here today. Again, we got one more phase to go. We got phase 3 in November. And Sarah Baldwin, let's give Sarah a hand for the beautiful work she did with that eagle. You can see that eagle. He's about ready to land on this monument over here. We also have a feather flag staff that she's doing that will be done also in November. So we look forward to that. And also the grounds you're on here is it's all going to be landscaped. It's going to look beautiful with the Kinnamon School project as well. Again, I'd like to read what Rusty says. When you come up here to look at the monument, try to keep your path right in here, because this is all seated here right now. So with that, Rusty, thank you for the good job. And our AMVETs, proud of our AMVETs here that are here today from the AMVETs post. And so we look forward to a beautiful day today. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Chairperson, or not Chairperson, but Council Member Mick Isham. Say a few words.
Bonjour, everybody. First thing I want to do is acknowledge and thank our veterans that are here today. I want to also acknowledge the elders that are present and our drum over there, big part of who we are as Ojibwe. I also want to acknowledge LCO Development for doing this great work here. And I always feel a little uneasy speaking at veterans events because I am not a veteran. However, my father, Mike Isham Sr., in the back row back there, he is a Vietnam veteran. And, you know, as a little kid, I remember watching the TV, and if some of you that are old enough to remember back then how the war was being portrayed on the news, all they did every single night was body counts and showing nothing but terrible stuff on the TV. And so, you know, as my mom and our family, we never knew if our dad was ever coming home. And so I understand how the families felt and what they went through. And we're real thankful he did come home, and a lot of the veterans at that time didn't get the proper welcoming. In fact, some of them were ridiculed on their way back. And so events like these are really, really important to our veterans and families. And with that, I want to just say thank you very much to our veterans. I really appreciate everything you did. As Rusty said, freedom ain't free. Miigwech.
I'd like to introduce Larry Kagigebi, Council Representative here in Courte.
Oh, Miigwech, good morning, everybody. Miigwech, and thank you for taking the time to be here today, huh? Memorial Day. I know each and every one of you know exactly what this day is for and what it means. But for a lot of us, there's an extra special place for Memorial Day. Before I begin, though, I'd like to look around. Miigwech to the drum group for being here today with those special songs you sang, huh? Miigwech, huh? When those songs are sung off that drum, they go upward, huh? And as you feel that wind. That was my dad's name, huh? Kagigebi, huh? Swirling wind. So it makes me feel a little extra special and proud today because I feel my dad is here today too as well, huh? So Miigwech for that, you guys. I appreciate that. For all other invited guests here today, dignitaries, as we look around, I know we can't go through each one of your names because we don't want to forget everyone, but Miigwech, thank you for taking the time to be here today on this special day. Some of you, I can tell, have traveled from long distances to be here. We appreciate that because by doing that, you show appreciation, respect, and consideration for not only the veterans that are here today physically, but as the chairman said, for those veterans that are still serving around the world. But more importantly, for those veterans that have lost their lives and gave their lives on behalf of this great country, huh? There's not a bigger service you can do for this country than to give your life for this country. And as these tablets say here, it attests to what all of our men and women have done out there over the years. You know, when we created this committee to look for a site to put a new monument on for our veterans, it came around a table. I remember I told these guys, I says, you know, as a Marine, as a United States Marine, any inch of ground that we can gain is always good ground. But there's no better ground to gain than the high grounds. And as you stand here today, this is a high ground. It comes to a point. And as veterans, as those that have served, we are at the point. We always take the lead. It's not the easy place to be. Sometimes it puts us in harm's way. And obviously sometimes we lose some along the way. But as you stand on these grounds here today, this beautiful grounds, and we're not completed here yet, but as you stand here, you can feel the power, huh? And it's pointing northward. And as northern people, this is a strong place to be. So Miigwech again for being here. But you know, I look around and I have to acknowledge two special people in my life right here. My son, Bronson, Kagigebi, and my baby, Nevaeh Kagigebi, huh? You know, I've been around this world, you guys, a few times over, like others have as well. There's times I wanted to give up. I've lost fellow Marines, fellow countrymen, but I didn't give up. And it wasn't easy. But as I look at these two today, that reminds me why we don't give up. And as I look around at each other and the friendships I have standing here, my fellow brothers here on the Courte Tribal Governing Board that I serve with, I know why I'm thankful. I'm always appreciative and why I put my same eye down in the mornings. And I ask Gougé money do, huh? Make today a good day. And I always thank him for that. So as we stand here with these ring of flags, all different branches of the military, Coast Guard, Army, Air Force, Navy, and of close, extra close and special to my heart, the United States Marine Corps flag. There's one flag back here, you guys, that means a lot more than the rest of them. And that's that POW MIA flag. It sounds pretty common sense when you read that. Prisoner of wars, missing in action. But for those that don't know the total meaning, we have lost those in harm's way in combat that have never came home. They're still missing in action. But there are a lot of our brothers and sisters in the armed forces that did come home physically. And they are still here with us physically. But they are still missing in action. They're on the street somewhere under some bridge, unemployed, trying to survive, trying to make it. That's what that means to me when it says you're not forgotten, because I will not forget them, huh? So as we stand here today and we acknowledge those that have passed on in our past, we also look forward. And here at Le Courte, that's what we are doing, is looking forward. And as I look in this front row here of very distinguished guests, World War II veterans. Wow, you guys are in unique company now. Many years have gone by, but I'm so proud to look at each and every one of you sitting here today and to be in your company. Miigwech for your presence, I appreciate that. And once again, thank everybody for being here today. We appreciate you being here, and thanks for participating in this Memorial Day ceremony with us here today. Miigwech.
Thank you, Larry, Mick, Chairman Thayer. I want to read something to you that is very important to the Le Courte tribal members of our history of our Ogeechida and Ogeechidakwe. It says the United States Department of the Interior, Office of Indian Affairs, Washington. Mr. James P. Ryder, Superintendent, Hayward School, received April 24th, 1926. My dear Mr. Ryder, in the time that has elapsed since the armistice, you have had full opportunity to compile complete records of the Indians of your jurisdiction who served in the World War. The office is preparing special records for war museums and other purposes, and request that you send in a complete list of the Indians of your jurisdiction who participated in the late war in any manner, no matter how briefly. Notation should be made of those who received distinguished service medals, Croix de Guerre, or any other recognition of special service rendered. Those who made the supreme sacrifice, and when and where, and those who have since died. And those wounded should be indicated on the list, so whether drafted or enlisted. Photographs of incidents or participants, stories, etc., would be valuable acquisitions to the record, provided you have such material. If you have any trophies, records, etc., to contribute to a war museum, the office would be glad to hear about it, or a loan exhibit would be considered in case such material is available. Proper credit would be given and articles returned on demand. Please keep this office informed of everything of interest in connection with the World War soldiers of your school and locality, individually and collectively, that may come to your attention from time to time, as it is important that full and complete records of the activity of the Indians who served in the World War be built up in the Indian Bureau. Early compliance with this request will be appreciated. Very truly yours, E.P. Mitchart, Assistant Commissioner, Bureau of Indian Affairs. I think that's very appropriate that we recognize correspondence of the day, that there was trying to get a roll of who served in a world war. At this time, I am going to take the opportunity to read off a list of participants that participated in the war to end all wars, which lasted from 1914 to 1918. The United States entered that war in 1917. Mr. John Batiste, David Bellel, James Bisnet, Thomas Bracklin, Jr., James Bracklin, Joe Bastoni, John Bastoni, John Cadotte, Eddie Careful, George Careful, Charles Kuhn, Louis F. Kuhn, Louis Kuhn, George Kuhn, David Corbine, James Dandy, William Dennis, David Dennis, Charles Dennis, Basil Dennis, Alex DeMar, Willie DeMar, Lawrence DeMar, Eddie DeMar, Antone Denasha, Francis Diamond, Alex Denasha, John Fleming, Samuel Frog, Willie George, Frank Gougé, Robert Grant, Ira Isham, Willie Isham, Edward Isham, Lawrence Isham, Albert Isham, Alex James, Charlie Jockey, John Kingfisher, George Laranzi, might mispronounce it a little bit, Dossie LaRush, Archie LaRush, Joseph Link, James Martin, Joe Martin, Willie Martell, Tom Courte, Gus Charlo, Joe Charlo, Joe St. Martin, Peter St. Martin, Andrew Tainer, George Thomas, Joe Chapania, Walter Chapania, John White, Charles Wolfe, Mike Wolfe, Alex Whitefeather, John Bracklin, Charles Isham, John Isham, John Chisholm, Joe Shogi, Charlie Knox, and the 67th, David Wade. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to rise. We'll go to the Soldier's Drum for a veteran song. Thank you, Soldier's Drum. Wonderful veteran song. Please have a seat. Before we continue on, I would like to recognize a representative from Sean Duffy's office, Mr. Tom Nimsgren. Where are you at? Tim? Oh, there he is. But in the spirit of what we're doing here today, at a time, right now, as time has it right now, where the sun now stands, we have a delegation, we have a harvest camp up in the Petonkey Mountains. Ogeechida-Ogeechidakways, fighting our treaty rights. We have a mind that wants to come in here. And so I would like to recognize some of those people that are here. If you could please raise your hand, that have been up in the Petokeys. Raise your hand. Oh, we have one over here. And they're occupying that area for 365 days, 24 hours a day. Melvin Gasper, Helena LaPointe, and others. Also Mike DeMaine, Paul's instrumental. So the war goes on. Our tribal attorneys and Mick also are fighting the war down in state level on the wolf hunt, watching out and protecting our rights. Our Ogeechidas, our Ogeechidakways are continuing, as in our tradition, to protect our rights. I'd like to make a special recognition here. Mr. Ward Winton is here amongst us here. His grandfather played a significant role on the Chippewa floods. Where are you at, Ward? There's Ward. Let's give him a hand. We also like to recognize our law enforcement, our Courte law enforcement, and also the Sawyer County and the town of Hayward that are here, our fire also. And Judge Wright. Hiya, Judge. Where you at, Judge? There he is. All right. Okay, so we have a good assembly of individuals here today. And we're going to jump right into the meat of things here, and we've got one more recognition. Happened some years ago. We have very few remaining members of another time and another place. Another world war that started in 1939 and didn't end until August of 1945. Our then President Roosevelt tried to keep us out of the war. But then on December 7th of 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, a day that lived in infamy. And we may have had some of our tribal members that were already in service. But when they heard that the war came and that they were looking for recruits, the Quaderer stood up. And our men and women answered the call to duty. This wasn't just a small war. It was a huge world war from one continent to the other. And it brings me great honor that we recognize them here today. The thing about it is that we have 7 out of the many that we had before. 7 surviving members amongst us here today, seated in the front row. They answered the call to duty and saw many, many things. A lot of them don't talk about it. Humble. As Ogeechida and Ogeechidakwe are humble. But they know that the sacrifices that they saw during that time played a significant impact on them. As we go along in history, I don't know what the curriculum is in school nowadays, but when I was going to school right here, Kinnamon, out in Hayward, they still talked about World War II. And it seems that our young people are starting to forget We remember the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, Afghanistan, but our warriors of yesteryear that kept the world free from tyranny. So at this time, I would like a representative from Mr. Darrell Kuhn's family to please come forward. Do we have the only one? Who? Terry Miller, Tammy, please come forward. To show our appreciation on this day, we would like to present each of our surviving World War II members with a plaque.
Is it on the podium?
I got it, okay. I forgot I had it up there. The first recipient is Mr. Darrell Kuhn, World War II veteran. This plaque is presented to Darrell C. Coons in honor and recognition for your faithful military service to your country during World War II in preserving and protecting democracy throughout the world. Presented on behalf of the Courte Band Lakes Superior Chippewyans on this 27th day of May, the year 2013, at the Courte Memorial Day celebration. Present that to me. You got the next one?
Who is it?
Sam Jockey. Thank you, Darryl. At this time, we'd like to present a plaque to Mr. Sam Jockey. Go ahead and take that up to Sam. We'll just rotate around. Okay. Each one in the council. Sam was a POW in World War II. He was captured in the Battle of the Bulge. And he could tell you many stories. What he saw. Our next recipient is Miss Bertha Smith-Christiansen. And we'll have Larry present that to Bertha. Thank you, Bertha. Bertha served in the nursing corps in World War II. Thank you, Bertha. Our next recipient is Mr. John Courte, sitting amongst us here in the wheelchair. Chairman, and also his son, James. Present. Our next recipient is Mr. Richard Smith. Everybody knows him by Dick. He served in World War II and his recognition of Iwo Jima. He was there. Our next recipient is Mr. Louis Gougé, Sr. Louis was in the United States Navy over in the Pacific. Thank you, Louis. Our next recipient, Mr. Vernon Isham. His relative, Dewey, will receive the award for him. say Chimigoots to all of our World War II recipients that are here today. Thank you very much for being here. At this time, we'd like to please rise.
Just wait a minute.
Bob Pendleton, he wanted to recognize Bob Pendleton, World War II.
He's
Oh,
a guy in the
Merchant
Navy, but
Marine.
from
Yeah.
Merchant Marine.
We got Mr. Bob Pendleton here. He lives in Boulevard. In his uniform here, still fits it. Bob, please rise there. Merchant Marine. They're the ones that kept us supplied with everything that we needed. So our troops. Thank you, Bob. At this time, we want to move over to Wadu Kadading for an honor song of our World War II veterans. So at this time, please rise. Amigos, Wadu Kadading. At this time, remain standing. Commander, Courte Ambulance Post, take charge of ceremony.
Rifle Company, in honor of our fallen brothers and sisters, prepare to fire 3 volleys. Ready! Aim! Fire!
I'd like to thank you very much. Please be seated. At this time, I'll turn the mic over to Mr. Chairman Thayer for some closing remarks. Chairman.
Thank you, Rusty. Thank you very much. I just want to acknowledge to Rusty Barber for the fine job he does, and also that recognize he's a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Army and also in wartime as well. So, Rusty, thank you for the good work that you do in honor of our veterans and our tribe. Also, we want to acknowledge that after this ceremony here, there's a lunch over at the tribal office. But at this time, we'd like to take our thermometer here, and we want to remove the amount to where we are at right now. We're going to peel that off. We're close to 200,000. So let's give a hand for all of our contributors. And we're going to ask that you do something as well if you'd like to contribute. If you don't know what to contribute, let me suggest this. Reach the person's wallet in front of you and take out whatever you'd like. And that way maybe we'll get our 200,000. So I think we're pretty close to it, Rusty. It's going up. We are hoping we can reach, I'm not saying hoping, I know we'll reach our goal here of this. And I want to thank my assistant too, Terry, and also Tammy for hard work they do. If you'd like to make a contribution to, Terry, you want to get something over here? We did this last time, people gave a gift, and you can make it out to the Courte Veterans Memorial. I'm going to have her come around. I'm going to be so bold to have her come around. And if you want to make a contribution to that, we'd like you to do that. Terry. Want to stay in there? If you want to write a check out for that, you can write it to the Courte Veterans Memorial. It's coming up there. Where are you at, Rusty?
One more to go. We got him off.
One more to go?
No, that's it. We got about 30,000 we got raised. Yep.
Being a part of our ceremony today. We want to thank you all again. Thank you all the veterans, all our guests, our invited guests here today that came out to make this a special event.
We have something over at the tribal.
Yes, and we have the lunch over at the tribal office there.
You're singing that traveling song. I also write last minute recognition. Jason Bisonette and the Youth Council decorated the old memorial over by the tribal office. Yep. Nuggeman. This way, Paul. Wait. Colonel, can I have you? No. No.
You're welcome to come up and see the memorial too if you'd like. Just come across in front of this podium if you want to get a closer look or a photo of the memorial.
been watching the 2013 Memorial Day Ceremony on the Courte Ojibwe Reservation, where they just did services for those fallen veterans. And what you're seeing is the halfway mark of a memorial that's going to be finished up on Veterans Day of this year. You saw the Eagle plaque that had been put up that was made by Sarah Balbin, and the rising of the Eagle, all the flags. Staffs a little bit earlier. Drum group singing that traveling song was Wadukada Ding, from the Ojibwe language immersion class, and members of the LCO Tribal Council presenting plaques to the living World War II veterans that showed up today. Front row, a group of elders, and right now there's a large crowd of people shaking hands with them. People milling about. They're getting ready to go over and break bread and have lunch and sit around and converse. And that's going to be the end of today's presentation. On behalf of IndianCountryTV.com and the Courte Band of Lake Superior, who sponsored this live stream, and the veterans who came here, and those who were all remembered missing in action, killed in action, prisoners of war, and those who have served their country, we want to say miigwech. This is Paul Domain reporting for IndianCountryTV.com. Thank you. I think considering